Hi, Gareth Kane here. Today I'm going to try something a little bit different. The Mobike bike sharing scheme has come to Newcastle upon Tyne, the city where I live, and I've never tried a bike sharing scheme. I've never been on a Boris bike or anything else, so I thought I'd give it a go. And as it was first time, I thought I'd video it and see how I get on. So I am what you might call a typical mammal, middle-aged man in lycra. I like to get my bib shorts on, take my carbon fibre road bike out for a spin, rather pointless spin to a cafe to show off how I get on Strava. I do have a hybrid bike which I use for more day-to-day type stuff. But this is, as I say, my first time in a bike sharing scheme. I have deliberately not dressed for it. I am wearing ordinary civilian clothes. The only piece of cycle equipment I'm going to take with me is my trusty bicycle clip. So let's get started. Okay, I've downloaded the Mobike app onto my phone. I've filled in my credit card details and uploaded a little bit of cash. It's saying this one is my nearest one. There's bike, which is 8 minutes walk away, and I'm going to reserve that. And that should mean that it's still there when I get there. So let's go find it. Okay, so I followed the map and I found it. Very distinctive looking it is too. And I should, if I hit unlock here, be able to unlock it. So, done the job. Unlocking. Oh wow, there. That all happened very quickly. Right, I'll get on and give it a go. Right, well, I've brought it down to the Tyne. Very interesting thing happened just as I was taking off. A guy came over who I think had ridden it to the shopping street where I picked it up, and he hadn't reserved it for himself. I assume that would work, which meant that when I took it, I was sort of taking the rest of his journey away from him. Now, I could have been nice to him and given it back to him, but that would have cost me 50 pence in the hire charge because the meter was already running, so to speak. And the other thing was then I would have to find another bike, which would be another long hike, and I'd already done one. Now, the same thing won't happen to me because there's zillions of them here, so that should be alright. So I'm going to go and have a coffee, and then I'm going to put it to some real use. So I'm enjoying my coffee and cake down here at the cycle hub on the Tyne. A few thoughts on the bike. It's not going to win any prizes for ride. It has to be said. I'm used to a lot of gears, but I was either spinning out on the slightest downhill or grinding hard to get up the slight incline. I've got quite a climb to get back up home, so I'll talk a bit more about that then. The thing that you think is grip shifter turns out to be the bell, which is useful to have, but it's like unnerving in a way when nothing happens apart from a ding when you try and change gear instinctively. I'm a bit sweaty, it has to be said, for cycling about in normal clothes. And this is sort of what I'm wondering is who's going to particularly use them, because, you know, okay, it's cheaper than hiring a bike, but if you hire a bike, you get a proper bike with gears and, you know, refinements like that. And I can't really see that much of a market for it above and beyond, you know, students wanting to get back home quickly from a heavy night out. So we shall see on that one, but I'm going to finish my coffee and cake here, and then I've got that big climb. As I said at the start, I cycle quite a bit. I know I can put a couple of 100 watts through bike pedals, but I find that really hard to get up that hill, and I'm only halfway up it, but the next section's off-road, so I thought I might try my best to narrate it as I go and see how I get on. Let's go. Right, we're coming to the climby bit here. I'm going to have to put a hand on the handlebars. Nope, that's too steep. Just that little section there. I'm going to have to push it. And this is a bit of a problem, because whereas a lot of Newcastle's actually quite flat, a lot of the interesting bits are down the Ousburn Valley, where I've just cycled through, or down along the Tyne itself. And to get back to the city centre, you've got some quite steep climbs. It's very hard to avoid them. So in terms of, you know, the type of journey you might take on this bike, I do worry about the gearing. I really do worry about that. And I've got a flat bit now, so I can pedal along as fast as I can go. And then I've got another little kicker of a hill coming around here in a minute. Right, so here goes. It's going to get gnarly again. You can make it, Gareth. You made it. Right, got up that. We're out of this Alhama. You know, wearing jeans, normal clothes. I am sweating quite a bit, but I'm also coming close to where I thought I'd leave it. So they ask you to leave it somewhere like a public bike stand is their recommended place. Okay, so you just kick down the stand and flick that lock, and it beeps at me, and it is no longer my responsibility. Okay, so I'm back home again. What did I think of that experience? The Mobike system works perfectly. You know, downloading the app, uploading your credit card details, finding the bike, unlocking the bike, taking it where you want to go, locking it again, all of that works absolutely perfectly. It's so easy, it's unbelievable. Where I do have a little bit of a problem is the style of the bike, because, you know, as I say, I can put a fair few watts through some pedals, and, you know, I chose that route deliberately to test it, but on the other hand, it is a signed cycle route. It wasn't as if I was sort of going on some insane 25% climb. It is actually a city approved cycle route, so from that point of view I wasn't being unfair. But, you know, what do you expect from a single speed sit up and beg? You know, that's you know, it's all very nice and works very well, but the question always is, who's it for? It's obviously not for people like me who own a bike, because it's always going to be simpler for me to get my bike out, pedal to the coffee shop, lock up, have my coffee, pedal back, without, you know, having to walk, in particular, you know, walk to find the bike and get it, and then leave it in a suitable place. You know, I could see it being very useful for tourists. I could see students using them for short rides, you know, particularly out of town, late night, if they want to get home a bit quicker. Who else is going to use them? That's the big question. And fundamentally, I'm going to be very intrigued to see how this works in terms of small s sustainability, because the you know, we've had bike share here before in Newcastle and it didn't work. Maybe that Mobike's is better, maybe it's not. We shall find out. But, you know, one of the fundamental principles I have about all sustainable products and services is they're driven by demand. And at the end of the day, the demand for this service will make or break it. And for that, we shall have to wait and see.